Now, I think it's important before I start my next piece to cover off something that's kind of sat out there for a while. I have never been a fan of Red Dead Redemption. The first game, for me, they advertised it as the authentic Western experience, and that was Rockstar's words specifically about Red Dead Redemption 1, that it was the authentic Western experience. But it was, for all intents and purposes, Grand Theft Horse, which was funny coming from the fact that GTA 4 was pushing way more into that realism angle. So I didn't enjoy that. I thought it was paced badly. I thought Marston, while he was an okay character, the game got carried by the ending and then the epilogue. I just didn't like it. I actually thought Undead Nightmare was a better use of the franchise. So I come into Red Dead Redemption 2 a little bit jaded. And it's not that I thought it was inherently going to be bad. I just thought, well, it's not for me. I didn't enjoy the first one. And I deliberately had gone out of my way to not watch any of the promotional videos or anything like that, because that was my downfall previously. I have a bad habit, if I let myself get carried away, of getting Molyneuxed, where I will read into what the developers say and what they promise, and it would just disappoint me. So I specifically went out of my way to avoid it, to give it the best chance I could to impress me. So let me be clear. For my money, Red Dead Redemption 2 is game of the generation. I genuinely think this is about as close as Rockstar have come, except for one other game, which I'll cover in a bit, and probably the industry have come to giving you a full experience inside of a video game, and be that both aesthetically, because the game is beautiful, be that from a gameplay and engagement point of view, because they've added these extra elements that I think they were missing. And I think even from a storytelling point of view, they nail it. So let's kind of break it down a little bit, I think is probably going to be the best way that I can go about it. Now, this is the thing with Red Dead Redemption 2's graphics. As much as they are great, and I'm sure they look even better on a PlayStation Pro or an Xbox One X, it's not even necessarily about the graphical fidelity, which again, I'm playing this on OG Xbox, yes I know, and it still looks fantastic to me, because it's not necessarily about how many polygons it renders and what resolution it's in, but it's about how they nail the aesthetic that they are going for. And each of these states, and they are states whether they want to call them or not, are what they are meant to be. Georgia, Louisiana, all these different places, they all feel like the areas that they are meant to be representing. Like, you're down in the bayou, you're up in the mountains, or like, all of them really nail exactly what they're trying to do. And that's not only just from like, oh, look, the weather's so pretty and look, the forests are pretty, which is true because the weather is pretty and the forests are pretty. But even from even the towns look like you would expect. Like, you go through Rhodes, and Rhodes looks like an old plantation town, an old slave town. It just, if you've ever seen a movie from that era, it just looks like it. It just nails what it's going for. And even in your little traveling band of people, you've got, you know, all these different people from these different backgrounds coming together and it just nails it. It just nails what it was like to live that, you know, freewheeling, you know, like small band of rugged outlaws kind of life. It just so readily nails its aesthetic that I think it goes above and beyond so many other games on that front. Then we cover into the gameplay. So this was the one thing that really bothered me about Red Dead Redemption 1, was just how, I don't know, it was more arcadey than it should have been. Like, it was literally just whistle your horse, it'll show up, get bit by a snake, doesn't matter, you'll be okay. In this one, you go from, you have to eat or you'll get skinny. So it's a little bit San Andreas-y / Metal Gear Solid 3. You have to eat or you get skinny. You have to brush your horse. You have to feed your horse. You have to bring food back to the camp. You have to donate supplies to the camp. And you can do this to as much or little an extent as you want outside of certain missions which force you to do it. And I love that about it. I love the fact that I can just go on a hunting trip and they haven't seen me for 3 in-game days. And I go, oh, Arthur, good to see you. It's been a while. And those random interactions, while obviously gamey, and this is the thing, it never escapes being a video game, but I don't think it wants to. I think if anything, it is an embrace of all of the, not necessarily the cliches, but all of the storytelling mechanisms that games allow us to have. I think it nails that so super well, combined with the gameplay, combined with everything else. Even the clunky Rage engine, and it's still clunky, I know it's been 10 years since I've had it, it's still clunky. Even the Rage engine does such a good job of conveying the world around you. And I guess perhaps this is the most important part for me at the very least. The great thing about it is, yes, there's a morality system. The morality system can be a little bit weird sometimes, and I guess it depends on what the perspective from the moral system is. You know, for example, you find an old slave driver who, you know, you show his mission, you find out he's a slave driver, you tell him, you know, you're a scumbag, and then if you kill him, you get moral points. And I don't know if I agree with that, but I get it if we're looking at it from certain perspectives. But Arthur as a character reflects on what he's done. He realizes that similar to John Marston, who obviously Marston's story is set after this, and Marston does actually appear in this game, he realizes that the Age of Outlaws is coming to an end, and it's just them barreling down towards what you know is going to be a very sad climax. And it's him, connecting with these people and sharing their stories and all this kind of stuff. It constructs a world. It constructs a world that is so, there's no seams that need picking that make it worse. And I think it does such a great job of that. And Arthur, even as a character, does such a great job of being, he's the steadfast, no nonsense cowboy, but there's some depth there. And I think it just genuinely, as an expression of video games as a storytelling medium, it does such a good job of conveying it, even if you don't like the characters and even if you don't like the story. And I can understand both those. I think it does such a good job of what it sets out to do that it gets my thing. So all in all, I think that of this generation of video games, and again, like I say, I think next generation is going to start sooner than you think. Red Dead Redemption 2 is perhaps the best game that has been created this generation. I'm happy to hear why you think that I'm wrong. I won't necessarily agree with it. And don't get me wrong, I still think Rockstar's best game is Bully, hopefully for Bully 2, but yes, Red Dead Redemption 2, is it worth playing? I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, especially with the addition of all of these things that I love about it, all of these extra, people would consider them tedious things. But yeah, for my money, game of the generation.